name is Damien and I'm the founder of Be Fit for Life. And in today's lesson, what I want to teach you is really the fundamentals, a kickstart of nutrition. When people come to us, initially their goal is weight loss. And in order for weight loss to happen, we have to set a good platform, a good solid base for which weight loss to make it able to occur. Some of them have tried different diets, and they're probably just like you. They tried low carb, they tried like protein, they tried zone, they tried a lot of different methods and detoxes, but they never actually got the results they're looking for. Then they end up tired and frustrated. Now, what they were looking for is to have a body that was more toned. They wanted the energy and the vitality to look after their kids, to look and feel great in the clothes they wear, and also to look after their kids and their energy to play sports, but just really have energy to tackle life and the challenges that throw them every day. So today's lesson, I'm going to teach you a jump start of what to do. It may not be a long-term solution, but if you're carrying a bit of excess weight, what we want to do is create an environment that fat loss can happen. So what I'm going to start off is a 14-day protein and fat adaptation phase. This sort of style of fat loss was made popular by a guy called Maher when he had a book called The Metabolic Diet. Johnny Bolton had Living the Low Carb Life, and what I'm going to do is explain how to do it the right way. The first question you want to know is, why are we doing it? Well, for fat loss to happen, what we've got to do is reduce inflammation. We've got to basically reduce water content that you'll probably be holding in your body. The next thing it also does is reduces food sensitivities. There has never been so many cookbooks in the world today, but what I see when I look at a client's food log or food diary or food journal, the same foods keep coming up. So what we want to do is reduce a lot of them and eliminate a lot of the common food sensitivity. They're probably bloating you out. Foods like gluten, like dairy. You know, Irish people have got one of the highest rates of gluten sensitivity in the world. So as being Irish and Celtic origin, what we want to do is reduce that water content that's probably putting more pressure on your joints, making your joints sore, making you feel a bit lethargic. And so if we eliminate them for a short period of time, like 14 days, we can see what was the effect they had on your body. And then if you reintroduce them in one at a time, you can see, are they a good fit for you and your goals? Another benefit of actually doing this sort of method is, our goal is to use fat as a fuel source. When you're carrying excess body fat, let's look at that as long-term savings. What you've been eating every day, that's your current account. Now here's the catch. Your body will not choose to use fat as a source of energy or dip into its long-term savings if it has a constant flow in its current account. So we want to use fat as a fuel source, and so by reducing a lot of our processed carbs and using fibrous carbs like vegetables, we're going to be able to do that because we're going to increase our fat intake and making sure we're getting good healthy fats in our body, getting good healthy proteins, and then we can start to use fat as a fuel source. The reason it takes 14 days, that's how long they will reckon for your body to make that transition over. Now the caveat is here. Is it hard? Yes, it's tough. What you need to be is organized, because about day 3, day 4, that dip is probably going to hit its lowest, and it's probably the worst you're going to feel about day 4. So you really want to stick with the plan at that, and I'm going to go through a sample sort of day in a few minutes. Another reason, what we want to do is give the pancreas a rest. Every time we eat foods that turn into sugar very quickly, our pancreas secretes insulin. It picks up that blood sugar, and its goal is to direct that and fuel into the muscle, provided and replenish glycogen in the muscle, provided you've been active that day. Now the problem with most people in their diet today is very processed, and so the more it's changed from its natural state, it turns into blood sugar a lot quicker, and then my pancreas has to secrete more insulin to try and pick up that blood sugar and drop it into the muscle. Now if your cell, and that'll be the next point, is your sensitive, it might be insulin resistance, if your cell membrane is thickened, your body cannot get the fuel into the cell. So what happens is, it continues circulates around the body and it later deposits in fat storage. So what we want to do is, our pancreas is probably working too hard. It had a filling of this, but now it's down here. So by reducing and giving it some days off where it doesn't have to work as hard, it will gradually fill back up into start to utilizing and become more efficient, and our ability to get fuel into the cell will be improved. Our next thing we're just looking at is reducing bloat. One of the things that women want when they come into a gym, or a man wants, is initially it will say weight loss. Now we're just talking about 14 days. It's not a long-term plan for life. It gets individualized or tailored to that person based on how their body responded to it. Should there be weight loss? Definitely. A gram of carbs holds about 3 to 4 grams of water. So when you're truly gone in the 14-day low carb and protein and fat adaptation phase, you reduce your processed carbs. That should reduce a lot of the bloat because you're retaining a lot more fluid in your body. That's where weight loss. So initially we might get about a time where it's like weight loss for the first 14 days. I know it's fluid. I explain that to my client because fat loss will only happen when we reduce the inflammation in the body. Next step, how does we do it? Okay, so the simple things I used to ask clients is I learned from a tip from Coach Charles Parkman was he was explaining to hockey players simple nutrition. And his simple saying was, did it run, swim, fly, or was it green? Hockey players probably weren't going to be members in Mensa anytime soon, so he was looking for something simple to get the message across. So when you look at your plate, you'd say, did it run, swim, fly, is it green? If you want to make it even simpler, was it around 10,000 years ago? Because our body hasn't evolved to utilize a lot of the foods that we're using today, processed so quickly. If you look at the work by Lawrence Cordain in his book, The Paleo Diet, Lawrence Cordain is a PhD and most of his life's work has been in this area of evolution. Next thing, I just call it green face. Explaining to clients, the food you're going to eat for the next 14 days, is it green and does it come from something with a face? Does it come from chicken, turkey, meat, beef? And we're looking for clean cuts is the ideal scenario of what we're looking for. Organic, even better. And green, vegetables, because we're going to look at detoxification. In phase 1 detoxification, we need vitamins and minerals. They're going to bind onto toxins. Now, in order to go to phase 2, they need to bind onto an amino acid. An amino acid is a breakdown of a protein. So that's why juice diets and all will never work, because they never have proteins to bind onto minerals and nutrients to bring it through a transition phase, so we can excrete it through urine, phase 3, or stool, phase 4. And we need to have all those processes in place. That's why we want veggies at every meal to make sure our fiber. We want to be doing simple things like chewing our food, putting the knife and fork down in between mouthfuls. That way we can enable our body to start producing digestive enzymes to enable fully breakdown of the food, absorptions of minerals and nutrients, and then enable detoxification to take place. So last sort of point, what would it look like? What would a meal day? So I started off and I said meal 1, we'd have a protein and fat and veggies. We'd probably put some fish oil. Now let's break it down. Protein comes from the Greek word of primary importance. With a name like primary importance, what does it do? The first thing protein does is improves your immune system. The next thing it does is detoxifies the liver. Then it goes into the functions of repair and of your muscles, of your organs, and of your hair and nails. Hence you listen to the ads on hair products and they'll say protein enriched. It provides satiety, especially when you're making that transition. By keeping our fats high, we'll balance out our blood sugar, which is why we want fats there. And ideally, a redder meat in the morning, a darker meat in the morning will help. Basically, it raises tyrosine. Tyrosine is a precursor for dopamine, which gives you neural drive and more energy in the morning. I've put some veggies there to make sure we get some fibrous carbs, enable us to break down. And the biggest problem when people sort of start a program like this, if they don't chew their foods, yeah, they might say they're constipated. It shouldn't be that way. You've got to chew your foods and make sure you have lots of veggies, because that provides the natural fiber you need to break down your food. The last thing I put here is fish oil. So fish oil is an anti-inflammatory. We talked about inflammation. Deborah Waterhouse in her book, Outsmarting the Female Fat Cell, she explains that fish oil turns on fat burning cells, lipolytic enzymes, and it turns off fat storing enzymes. When we go lower carb, the reason people eat a lot more carbs is that it improves their mood. Serotonin levels increase. But what we do with fish oil also has that added benefit, and it stabilizes your blood sugar. So again, breakfast could be steak and some nuts, and it could be a stir fry with some peppers, whatever. Onions is not going to be the worst. They're thermogenic in food. So although I said green face, there is that little element around we can peppers and onions. Our next meal, if you train in the morning time, you might have a protein shake. If your body fat is high, a good thing to do is having a whey shake, but also adding in some possibly glutamine to repair the lining of your stomach wall and boost your immune system, and also some glycine that helps detoxify your liver. If we come on to lunchtime, I've gone for a white meat, white fish and salad, and I've added in some olive oil. Now if you notice, I'm always putting in some fats. It could be avocado in the morning with that breakfast time. But I get some olive oil and possibly some fish oil as well. Just for this 2 weeks, we might take a little bit more fish oil than normal. And what I want to do is white meat, white fish, easier to digest, but again is I'm getting different nutrients and amino acids from different proteins as I spread them around. Meal 4, what I put down is just some turkey slices and some guacamole. Guacamole, a breakdown of avocado, and then just smear it on it there. While I'm at work, whatever, a little snack what you're having in your day. And meal 5, we're going to go for some white meat, white fish, and some vegetables. You might look at a chicken or turkey stir fry cooked in some coconut oil. Turkey, another sort of different protein, but again contains tryptophan, which helps calm the body down. You know, all through this day, I'm drinking lots of water. I might start off the day with some water and some lemon or some lime cut up and aid my organs, but obviously hydrating my body. A simple saying I'd say to the client, the solution to pollution is dilution. So we always want to ensure that we have good water intake all during the day. So there you have it. Simple 14-day fat and protein adaptation phase. What you do day 15, we still want to come in and introduce some starchy carbs, but keeping them good in terms of rice and sweet potato. How frequent and how many times, that's going to be individual. That's where you need a coach to tailor it for you. But I hope that gives you a bit of an insight. If you do this for 14 days, you will get more mental clarity, you will feel more energetic, and for the first time in your life, you'll probably start to see a reducing of fluid, increasing of energy, sleeping much better, and then that will give you an idea of what a jump start is. To take it from there, it's individualized and tailored, but that's a great start you can make. So thank you for listening. Any questions, just post them down below. Thanks for your time. Bye.